Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the latest in our Building Blocks for Success workshop series. My name is Brian Hendricks. I'm the Deputy Director of IDOT's Office of Business and Workforce Diversity. And today we're going to be learning more about innovative project delivery and what it means not only to the DBE community in particular, but the transportation community as a whole. This is the first of a two-part session. And again, just in case you're not familiar, we will provide all the attendees with not only a PDF or PowerPoint of the presentation, but a video link as well to this recording. And with us today are some representatives from the Innovative Project Delivery team. Particularly, I wanted to welcome Nick Schaeffler and Mark Taylor. Nick is an engineering associate with Reynolds or RS&H, which is an engineering, infrastructure, and consulting firm that's been very valuable to us in trying to implement these things. And Mark Taylor is a senior transportation engineer with RS&H. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for all you do, and take it away.
All right. Thanks, Brian. It's a great intro. Let me share my screen here and we'll jump right on. Jump right on in here. Let's see. I want to give you that one. All right. So if everyone can see that slide, we're good to go. So as Brian said, my name is Nick Schaeffler. I work as part of an advisory team to Innovative Project Delivery, and I have Mark Taylor. He's sitting right next to me here. So he's here with me. He's going to help me field any questions that might come up. As we're moving through the presentation, we'll stop here and there, see if any questions come up. But I also noticed on the call, we have a few people who also worked with us. Kirsten is in here, and then Mike and Neil are in here as well from IPD. So I appreciate you all being here, and let's jump right in. So as Brian mentioned, this is a two-part series. The first part today we'll go over is a high-level overview of innovative project delivery in Illinois. And then the second session goes a little more in depth into each of the delivery methods and some more about the specifics on the DBE program within it. So today's agenda, we'll start by talking about the IPD manual resources and trainings that we have available. We'll talk about the IPD Bureau and the enabling legislation. We'll talk some about DBE outreach. We'll have an overview of the IPD methods. And then we'll talk about IPD roles and opportunities and where people can fit into the program. And then we'll talk about the project identification and selection process a little bit. Then we'll round out with how can you get involved and get updates. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end for any questions that you might have. Okay, so today's objectives. In today's session, we'll go over IPD resources that are available to you and how to access them. We'll identify the IPD Bureau's mission and responsibilities and the enabling legislation that governs IPD, define how a project is selected for IPD, understand the roles in IPD projects that are available for consultants and contractors, and then we'll understand the DBE outreach goals that are associated with IPD. All right, so let's talk about resources a little bit. The manual and guidelines is intended for Innovative Project Delivery Bureau staff, personnel across all levels of the department's organization, and interested stakeholders to familiarize themselves with the construction manager, general contractor, progressive design build, and design build delivery methods, processes, and procedures. The purpose of the Innovative Project Delivery Manual and Guidelines is to provide guidance on the development, procurement, implementation, and administration of transportation projects using the construction manager, general contractor, progressive design build, and design build delivery methods. The Innovative Project Delivery Bureau consulted with the Chief Procurement Officer and the Secretary in developing this manual, setting out the procurement processes and procedures to ensure an open, transparent, and efficient process. The innovative delivery process described in the manual is intended to streamline and standardize the overall development of a project utilizing federal and state transportation industry best practices related to construction manager, general contractor, progressive design build, and design build delivery. The main body of the manual and guidelines includes 6 chapters that provide an introduction to innovative project delivery. The project identification and screening process, how a project delivery method is selected, performance metrics and agency reporting, federal requirements, and state and federal DBE requirements. And these sessions will cover chapters 1 through 6 of the main body of the manual. And the manual and guidelines also contains an appendix that's focused on the 3 delivery methods: construction manager, general contractor, progressive design build, and focus on the procurement and implementation phases of project delivery. Additionally, the IPD Bureau has a public-facing webpage on IDOT's website that's located within the Transportation Management and Planning tabs. Again, you can also go to the resources page within the IPD webpage to get information on various events and programs. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the legislation and the IPD Bureau office. The Innovative Project Delivery Bureau was established in 2016 to identify, evaluate, and develop projects that may benefit from innovative project delivery methods. The Bureau set out to utilize innovative project delivery methods to enhance, to enhance transportation networks, optimize the use of public funds, enable proactive partnerships, and maximize DBE opportunities with the program. The IPD Bureau was initially tasked with managing public-private partnerships, or P3 projects, but today we will be focusing in on the other delivery methods that they oversee, which is the construction manager, general contractor, progressive design build, and design build methods. Under the Innovations for Transportation Infrastructure Act, the department is authorized to use the following innovative project delivery methods for transportation construction projects: construction manager, general contractor, progressive design build, and design build. We'll cover these methods in brief during this session, and we'll go into more detail on them in the next session. It should be noted that these alternative delivery methods are not intended to replace traditional design bid build delivery that you do today. It will still be the predominant delivery method. However, these are meant to complement or be added tools in a toolbox to help with different situations. The goal of these different delivery methods is to harness innovation earlier in the project development process and accelerate project delivery and optimize risk allocation between the department and the private sector. So, as noted earlier, IPD delivery methods should only be used on projects that would benefit from the use of the methods other than the traditional design bid build delivery model. Note that these delivery types are largely selected based on qualifications and best value and not a low bid environment that you are used to. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later as well. Each method, as we will discuss in detail later, offers its own benefits. Generally, however, all IPD delivery methods provide some level of accelerated delivery. And a major differentiator between them is the risk allocation. Each method handles and allocates risk differently, especially in comparison to a traditional design bid build delivery where the owner maintains all the risk for a project. Ideally, for any construction manager, general contractor, progressive design build, or design build project, each risk would be allocated to the party that is most capable of managing it. As a part of the Act, there are requirements that the department must follow. This includes a limitation on capital costs and project count. But let's stop for a moment and define what the capital cost actually means. In this case, this applies to the procuring of the contractor. So whether that be the construction manager, general contractor, the progressive design build, or the design build contractor, depending on the delivery type. Capital cost does not include any of what are the owner's representative services, which we'll cover in a little bit here as well. But those are engineer of record, procurement engineer, construction oversight team, or independent cost estimator. All projects will continue to include a DBE requirement. There will be separate DBE goals for professional services and construction services. And additionally, the department is required to make a written determination that the alternative delivery method selected is in the best interest of the state, and the department must also provide annual reports on the progress of these procurements to the General Assembly for the first 5 years of the program. Now, a unique aspect of these methods is that the Public Contract Fraud Act requires that you have all right-of-way purchased prior to procuring a contractor. But since innovative project delivery methodologies include early collaboration with the contractor, it is important to be able to procure the contractor prior to completing the land acquisition process and well in advance of construction. In order to facilitate this, IPD projects are exempt from the Public Contract Fraud Act. Okay, so let's take a few moments here to talk about DBE outreach. So as a part of DBE outreach, IPD projects bring potential to support and grow DBE firms, and we want to ensure that we are engaging DBE firms within the program. The IPD Bureau also partners with the Office of Business and Workforce Diversity and helps ensure equitable outcomes. And DBE goal setting is an integral part of the IPD program. These DBE goals are established in accordance with IDOT and federal procedures for design and construction services. As noted earlier, these goals for professional services and construction services are separate, just like they are today. The department will determine attainable DBE utilization goals for these contracts, taking into consideration industry capacity and interest in this type of delivery. And as a part of the annual report that the IPD Bureau develops, which reports on the status of the program, there will be a component which specifically discusses the DBE goals set and how they were achieved. So that is just a brief overview of DBE within the IPD program, but we will go into much more depth in this in the next session as well. So during this session, our goal is to give you a basic understanding of each of the delivery methods and how they differ from a traditional design bid build contract. Please keep in mind moving forward that these methods are here to complement the current way IDOT does business. The IDOT methods are not intended to replace design bid build. Rather, once again, they're just extra tools in the toolbox. So before we get into it, let's take a look at a few acronyms that we will come across. We've already covered the CMGC, PDB, and DB earlier in the session, but the next four will come up as we move forward. These are what are known as the owner's representatives. We have the EOR, the engineer of record, PCE, the procurement engineer, the ICE, the independent cost estimator, and the COT, the construction oversight team. And don't feel you need to memorize these. I will do my best to reiterate these as we move forward. So this slide shows the relationship within different delivery methods. The solid lines show the contractual relationship between the parties, and the dashed lines show more collaborative relationships between the parties. With design bid build, it's a traditional process. IDOT has a contract with the designer, and the designer works on preliminary and final design and signs off on the plans. Then they go out and look for a contractor. There are two different contracts associated with design bid build and two different relationships. Also, there's typically is not much interaction between the designer and the contractor, which is a distinction that you will see from CMGC. In CMGC, you have those two contractual relationships with IDOT and the engineer of record, and the contract with IDOT and the CMGC contractor. But during the pre-construction phase, you'll see that there is interaction between the EOR, IDOT, and the CMGC. And if we go further to the right, you get into progressive design build and design build, where the contractual relationship is a little bit different. There is an owner's representative that's a part of the contract with IDOT. Then IDOT has a specific contract with a design builder, which does the final design on the contract and constructs the project. In traditional design bid build delivery, IDOT has all the control, and such they own all of the risk. The innovative contracting methods allow for a progression of risk optimization. This transfers more control over to the design/contractor teams, but it also gives them more of the risk. The focus for IDOT will be on defining project goals, not necessarily developing a design solution. This allows for the design and contractor teams to innovate and provide the best value, utilizing their knowledge and expertise within the parameters that IDOT sets. Okay, now I want to take a few minutes and go over how each of the IPD methods schedules and tasks differ from a traditional design bid build. Each of these tasks will be broken down further in session 2. In CMGC, the engineer of record is selected first to begin the design process. By the time the engineer of record is up to 30% of the design, the CMGC is selected, and soon after, the independent cost estimator is selected. CMGC delivery allows for a collaborative process for pre-construction activities and design. IDOT, the EOR, and the CMGC work collaboratively to advance the design, with the ICE providing concurrent cost reviews at key design milestones. CMGC is able to provide input into the design process. And final design leads to the development of what is called a guaranteed maximum price. And we will talk more about a guaranteed maximum price in the next session. Progressive design build, the procurement engineer is selected first to begin the design process. The PDB team and the ICE are selected by the time the design is developed up to 30% plans. Again, the pre-construction activities are the result of a collaborative process between IDOT, the procurement engineer, and the progressive design build team, with the ICE providing concurrent cost reviews at key design milestones. The key differential is that completion of design falls under the PDB team instead of the EOR in the case of a CMGC delivery. And final design leads to the development of a guaranteed maximum price or a lump sum, which is something we'll also discuss a little later. Now, for design build, the most important difference between design build and progressive design build, progressive design build, and CMGC delivery is that the preliminary engineering is completed before a DB team is procured. The procurement engineer, serving as an owner's representative, is the first entity selected to complete the preliminary design and NEPA process, as well as initial works as explained before. The procurement phase may be a single phase, which involves an RFP only, or a two-phased procurement, which includes an RFQ and an RFP. The RFP process allows for a level of project development and proposal of alternative technical concepts by the bidders. The work of the ICE parallels the procurement phase and allows for cost reviews and updates to align with project scope updates. Now, this slide just shows an overview of each of the delivery methods compared kind of on top of each other. So before moving forward, I wanted to bucket the owner's representatives by the delivery method. And as you can see, the independent cost estimator and the construction oversight team are a part of each of the delivery methods, though their job may differ between the methods. The engineer of record is a part of the CMGC method, and a procurement engineer, while mainly a part of PDB and DB methods, can be utilized in the CMGC method if deemed necessary by IDOT. Now, I want to show you the roles and give you some examples of their responsibilities. The procurement engineer is appointed or procured to support and represent the owner through the procurement process and oversee the project delivery in conformance with contract documents. The PCE is responsible for the project's NEPA documentation unless otherwise noted. So just a few things that they are responsible for. There's collaboration and communication, cost estimation and budgeting, contractor selection, risk management, documentation preparation, and sustainability and innovation. An engineer of record will do design, they will do quality assurance, they will collaborate with project teams, they will do risk management, there's documentation and reporting, they are a client liaison, and they will also work with sustainability and innovation. An independent cost estimator, they do cost and schedule analysis, they collaborate with project teams, they will do some risk assessment, they will have transparent reporting, they will do value engineering, there's compliance and standards, and then they will also do market research. A construction oversight team does project monitoring, quality assurance, communication and coordination, schedule management, risk management, documentation and reporting, and then budget oversight. And what I want to do now, I want to take a moment if there's any questions that we can answer. I know there's a lot of information there.
I don't see any in chat, Nick,
All
so
right.
far. Well, let me scroll down here a little bit, make sure. And Q&A. I don't see any in either, but we'll let you know
Okay.
when we do.
Sounds good. All right, so moving on. Roles like the engineer of record, procurement engineer, independent cost estimator, and construction oversight team for IPD projects may be performed by the department through consultant firms. IDOT advertises for professional services 4 times a year via the Professional Transportation Bulletin and makes the schedule public via the PTB schedule. And on occasion, a special bulletin is necessary. So this is where you'll find the opportunities posted for new contractor roles, including, I'm sorry, this is the other one. This is the PTB for where the owner's representative roles will be posted. Now, contracting roles will be advertised on a new IPD procurement. So these 3 include a CMGC contractor, the Progressive Design Build contractor design team, and the Design Build contractor design team. And this is what the IPD procurement webpage looks like. And this is where you'll find those opportunities posted for the new contractor roles, which are the construction manager, general contractor, progressive design builder, and design builder. So this is that 2-step procurement process that I mentioned earlier. The procurement process may begin with a request for information issued by IDOT. After this, a request for qualifications is issued by IDOT on the department's website, and contractors can submit a statement of qualifications. Based on the statement of qualifications, a short list will be identified and sent a request for proposals. The short list will be a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 5 proposers. The contractors will submit a proposal and be selected based on a best value selection process. And if desired, IDOT may perform optional interviews prior to making their final selections. So now that we know how consultants and contractors are selected, I want to give you a brief overview of how a project is selected for innovative project delivery. The primary purpose of project identification and screening process is to first evaluate whether a project belongs in the innovative project delivery program, and if so, select the right delivery method for the project from either of the CMGC, PDB, or DB methods. This is an overview of the process, and for your awareness, this information is also described in more detail in the manual. The identification and screening process consists of 2 steps as shown in this graphic. The step 1 is the identification of a candidate project for innovative project delivery in the multi-year program, and step 2 is how to rank a project for readiness and choose the delivery method that will best deliver the project and achieve its stated goals. So the next slide, I just want to focus in on the screening process that's in step 2. So you will start with a level 1, the high level qualitative evaluation to identify if your project has features that would fit alternative delivery. Then, if necessary, you will move on to level 2, the quantitative evaluation, where project delivery methods will be given a score and ranked to identify the best fit for your project based on the criteria developed from industry best practices and FHWA guidance. And finally, the last step is completion of a risk analysis. Now, one thing I want to note, if the results of any of the levels of evaluation are clear, the screening process can stop and the project delivery method can be selected. However, if the results are unclear and require further screening, the project will then continue through the process. So speaking of some of the projects, here you can see a list of candidate projects that have been selected for innovative project delivery as a part of the current MYP. The bolded projects have been screened through the project delivery method selection process, while the other projects are still in the screening process. So you can see there, they are all over the state right now. We're working with a few different districts. Okay. So with that kind of large overview out of the way, I want to speak briefly just where you can go get involved and where you can stay connected. So if you would like updates on innovative project delivery, you can head over to the Stay Connected section of the IPD page on IDOT's website. And then from there, you can subscribe and you'll receive any updates that come out of the program. So with that, it's a little faster than it normally is, but that's all right. That was a brief overview of all of innovative project delivery, kind of condensed into about 30 minutes. The next session does go into much more detail on each of these. So I want to open it up. If there are any questions or comments or anything, we can take those now. All right, let me see here. Okay.
I don't see any, but I know that I wanted to make sure that everybody saw Neil's post in chat from 10 after 10 about the IPD webpage for more information. And yeah, I just want to make everybody mindful of that. That's very helpful information.
Well, yeah, I'll say if there's nothing else, as Brian said, this will be recorded, so anyone can pop on there and watch it again. Or if you just want to hear my voice, you can do that as well. But I think, yeah, Brian, I think I'll throw it back to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Nick, and thank you, Mark, for this overview. And as was mentioned, there's going to be a part 2 of this that goes into a little bit of a deeper dive on Thursday at the same time. And I'd like to encourage you to think about questions. I know we have some DBEs represented here. I know that they're, anytime we talk about topics like this, design build, or anything that involves bundling or unbundling or whatever, there's always DBE related questions, and that's the business we're in. So feel free to come back on Thursday prepared to get any questions about this whole process answered, because I know these guys are very knowledgeable about the topic, and we'll be able to address those. So if that's it, then I want to thank you guys for this wonderful information on a new and developing topic here for us. And we look forward to seeing you all back again on Thursday.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you all. Thank you. Mr. Stark, you have your hand raised.
Nope, I was going to give an applause, but I raised my hand by mistake.
I do that all the time. So
thank you, everybody.
Thank you. We'll see you Thursday.
All right, sounds good. Bye, everybody.